Hi, in this tutorial I'll talk about AEM component. AEM component is very important topic and we'll cover this topic in multiple tutorials. This is just a introduction to AEM component along with a demo. We'll see the basics of AEM component as part of this tutorial. So before we move on to AEM component, let's understand a scenario. I have a HTML page and on that page I need a button. Obviously button will be having a text and link. So I write a code which has this thing button and you can add it a link and text. Now I have multiple pages and I need the same button with a different content, mean different text and different link and different styling. So what you will do, you will write a piece of code every time whenever you need it. But in AEM, we reuse this code. Let's say this is a tiny code. You want to reuse that rather than to write that code every time. So this thing will be done in AEM using component. So using AEM component, you reuse that piece of code along with you have a UI so that you can add your custom content to that piece of code. Along with this, you have a way to write your business logic as well. Let's say you want to apply some business logic over here on second page to the same button. You can do that in that component. Along with, you can add custom styling as well. So this all things can be achieved using AEM component in AEM. So what we'll do, we'll create a component which has a UI to add your custom content, and you can drag and drop that component over page as many number of times as you need. Using that UI, custom UI, you can add your specific content to it. So this is achieved by AEM component. So what is AEM? AEM is a basic building block of creating content and rendering content. What I would say, AEM is the most important part, means AEM component is the most important part of your AEM product or AEM software. All the content you see on any website, everything is rendered by component. All the content is created using component. So what AEM component does? It saves your user content, means you can create content using this. You can access, once you have content, you have saved the content in JCR or anywhere. You can add, add content to third-party service, database, whatever you need. That, but let's focus on the basic stuff as of now. So you create content, means you save content. You can access that saved content. You can add the styling. Obviously, you can add styling, and then you can render component. So the user content means how you can save that content. So in AEM component, there is a UI called dialog, right? You will see or you will hear a lot about dialog. So we have a UI which used to call it dialog. Using that, you save your content, specific content, every time when you drag and drop it. Access content. So once you save this dialog, your content stored in repository. Now you need to access that when you render that component. So there's a number of ways, right, in AEM. Even still AEM support number of ways. You can write JavaScript model, you can write WSIM use class, okay, even you can render this using JSP. But nowadays we use Sling model. So let's understand Sling model for now. Okay, you can access that content from repository using Sling model. This is called backend. Styling is done using client libs, right? So you can write a folder. Inside that you put your CSS, JavaScript, font file and all, and you club together everything with the name of client lib. So that is called client lib. You just can load the whole thing just by a name. We'll see that, okay? This is called client lib. Now the rendering thing, okay? So you have all the data together with this Java object using Sling model. You have styling. So there is a language called Sitely or STL that is specific to AEM. Okay, even you can reuse that with other products because that is supported by Sling and Apache. But this, for now, we specifically use this in AEM. Okay, so this language is simple HTML, but it has some placeholder so that the Sling model, the content comes with the sling model that is placed in those placeholders, and that will be available to the page. Okay, and we have styling in this. So all these things together, a content is rendered using these modules, these stuff in component. Okay, now see how it works actually, how the life cycles of this works. So using first you drag and drop that component, okay, over page. As soon as you drag and drop that component, a node is created inside JCR. Means every time you create, drag and drop component, a node is created. Now you open the dialog and you save those values, your content. So that content is saved in that node in the form of properties, okay, key value pair. So the process of saving that data, okay, authoring, so we used to call it authoring. Okay, now your JCR means Java Content Repository had your content in key value pair format. Okay, you can store files as well. Obviously, we'll see that the use cases. So this is called authoring. Now, when you want to render it, so what happened? You create a sling model. Let's say you drag and drop the page component over page. Okay, as soon as this page reload or load, what happened? Your sling model kicks in. Okay, means your backend kicks in. This backend get all the values from the JCR and it provide to front end, means you're rendering sightly. Along with this, your client library will also load as soon as the page reload. Okay, this client library has your JavaScript, CSS, font file, and whatever you need for styling. Okay, these things now this HTML means the sightly kicks in. So what happened? This sightly has some placeholders. So whatever the content my sling model has, so it inject that data inside the placeholders available in HTML or sightly, right? So a HTML is created which has classes. So because my CSS is available, that CSS is applied on those classes, means CSS classes. So now you have data from the sling model, you have styling using client library. Everything is available. Now this HTML is generated and it is rendered to front end, means your browser. That's how component works. And this second phase is called rendering. Okay, authoring, rendering. Now every time do you need to create component? So there is a sample components available. Those comes with out of box AEM. So one is foundation component, those are rarely used these days. Another one is core components, right? So these are your starting points, or even you can reuse these components, and you can write other components as per your project need. So even these components are used these days, core component. Even if you create a project from Maven archetype, those components are available as a dependency by default with you. You can reuse those or you can get help of these components. We'll see that in demo, okay, in coming tutorials. Now let's understand a simple demo. Whatever we learn, let's see by a demo. We'll cover all the details, means back end, front end, how do we write these components in coming tutorials as and when we need in this series. Okay, now let's see a demo. So you will see these are the pages I created in previous tutorials. So let's see, let me add a component. So we have this component, okay, we have all retail related components. So let's add this component called link button. Okay, you added this component. As soon as you drag and drop this component, okay, you will see a node created for this component in hierarchy, in a particular hierarchy, means inside this. So let's go to till this page. Okay, let me show you that node actually, then we'll see other stuff. Okay, I came till page. Now go JCR content and root and responsive grid. This is my layout container, and see this button has been created. Right now it has some metadata values which is used by AEM itself, okay, which shows which component it is, what is the resource type, and we'll see that in coming tutorial. For now I drag and drop. Now let's see, I want to author it. Okay, this is called authoring. Now what I'll do, I'll add a label. Let's say Google and button. Okay, and let's say add link to it. All right, and save it, leave it for class. Now these fields, this is called dialog. Okay, dialogue. These fields are as per your need. You write your own dialogue every time when you create your component, or you can reuse the existing one. We'll see that in detail. If I save it, you see this. Now this has been come. Okay, now if I go back again in JCR, means repository level, see what are the changes. So earlier you see I did not refresh it. You see 6 properties, nothing customized property, nothing specific to whatever we saved. If I refresh this now, okay, and go back again, see the other properties had been added, label and link to. Don't worry about these names. These are your names, whatever you define while creating a dialogue. Okay, so this has been saved. If you see now it is rendering. So let me see, open view as a publish. Right now I'm not publishing it. So you see this is rendered. So what happened? Whatever the values save here, okay, save here. There is sling model kicks in, which bring those values, and the CSS classes are also applied using client library. Don't worry what are the libraries, what are the objects, we'll see that. Okay, that's how component works. So what I'll do, let's say I need to add one more time. Simple. Let me do it one more time. Okay, and authored again. Okay, and let's say AEM geeks. All right, and let's say for now, what do you want me to give it? Let's say hash for now. Let's say, so I said AEM geeks and YouTube. Okay, if I saved it, there's a one more instance of this component, and now I have a different content. Okay, so if I go back again, you see I did not refresh it. If I refresh it now, see there's another button came in. So this is the instance of another button. This is a node of a new button. Okay, and if you click on this, you will see a specific value which I authored in a different component instance. So that way, whatever the code used to render it, you are reusing it with different UI. So this is the component, how it works. Okay, we'll see more details, different aspect of the component, because this is the important. As and when need, in this series we'll cover everything about component. Okay, I hope you understood. If you have any question, add your comment. Thank you.